Hello, and welcome back to Speducation. I am your host, Brandon Reed, and today we're going to be talking about IEP goals. What are they? Why are they important? And how should they be written? So, without further ado, let's dive into today's lesson. Today's lesson, IEP goals. Now, if you have a child with an IEP, then chances are they have an IEP goal, because you can't really have an IEP without an IEP goal. So a lot of parents are probably wondering, well, how do they come up with these goals? Why are they important? Why are they in the IEP? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So let's take a look at that. Annual IEP goals are statements that describe what knowledge, skills, and/or behaviors a student is expected to achieve within the year the IEP will be in effect. The IEP must include measurable annual goals consistent with the student's needs and abilities, as identified in the student's present levels of performance. Basically, if a student has an IEP, then that means that they have a learning disability, whatever that learning disability may be, and IEP goals address that learning disability. Now, when you write an IEP goal, you need to make sure that it's smart. And I don't mean intelligence, although you do need intelligence to write an IEP and an IEP goal, but I'm talking about the acronym SMART, S-M-A-R-T. S-M-A-R-T. Goals need to be specific. So if you have a goal that is for reading comprehension or for solving multiple step problems, you need to be specific. What exactly is the cause of the problem that is going on with the student? Okay, if they're having difficulty with reading comprehension, well, that could be a variety of things. So the more specific the goal is, the better the goal will be. It also needs to be measurable. The one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that when you set goals, you have to have some way of measuring them. And so that's why you might have things like the student will be able to solve 5 out of 6 problems with 80% accuracy. That's a way to measure it, because you can use student reports, you can use grade reports, you can use assessments to measure their success. It also needs to be attainable. Now, when I think of attainable, I think of it in this way. If you're writing a goal for a kindergartner, then you want to make the goal reachable for that student. So if you say the kindergartner will be able to solve one problem, adding and subtracting problems by the end of the school year, then that's attainable. The kindergartner can probably do that. But if you say the kindergartner will be able to solve multi-step, two-step equations, that's nowhere near attainable for a kindergartner, unless they're Doogie Howser. So when you write goals, they have to be attainable. They have to be realistic for the student. They also have to be results-oriented. Now, you're probably wondering what that means. That means that what are the steps that the student is going to take to reach the goal? So you have to make sure that you include those steps when you're writing it. And then they also have to be time-bound. Now, the majority of IEP goals are generally about a year long, because it'll say by the next annual case conference, or by the next annual case review, or by the fall of the following year. Sometimes there are some IEP goals that are only 3 to 6 months, and these are short-term goals, but it has to be time-bound, because if you don't have a time limit on it, then how are you going to be able to measure it or see how the student has grown? There's one other aspect of writing IEP goals that you may not know about, and some teachers may also overlook this as well. What is it? IEP goals need to address the cause, not the effect. Think of it this way. Doctors don't just treat symptoms, they treat the disease. What do you do when you go to the doctor's office? Well, the first thing that they do is they ask you about your symptoms. But why? Is it because they're just trying to start up a conversation? No, because they want to identify the root cause. Just treating the symptoms won't make you feel better. Treating the disease that is causing the symptoms will. The same methodology applies to IEP goals. The goals need to address the cause, not the effect. If you have a student that is consistently absent from school, then you might decide to write a goal that looks like this. The student will attend at least 95% of their scheduled classes in each quarter of the school year by utilizing their planner and school calendar as measured by teacher attendance records. Now, although this goal addresses the student's absenteeism, it does not address the cause of why the student is absent. By identifying the cause and developing your goal around that, you are far more likely to see success than just addressing the effect of the student's absenteeism. Now, hopefully you feel a little bit better about IEP goals and it gives you a better understanding of what they are. So what are we going to be learning about next week? Next week, we'll talk about progress monitoring and what it is, which actually ties into IEP goals because in order to understand how a student is doing, you have to be able to monitor it somehow. And that's where progress monitoring comes in. So if you liked what you saw, please click the like button. And if you want updates on future videos, feel free to click the subscribe button and ring the bell for updates on future videos. And as always, if you have questions, feel free to post these in the comments section and make sure that you share this channel with others. And until next time, class dismissed.